The call came on a Tuesday afternoon while I was reviewing quarterly reports in my downtown office. "Emily, we need to talk about your father's birthday," Mom said, her voice carrying that particular tone she used when delivering unwelcome news she'd already decided I had no say in. "The party's in 3 weeks, right?" I asked, minimizing the spreadsheet on my screen. "I was planning to. That's what we need to discuss." She paused. "Your sister Sarah's husband, Marcus, is hosting it at their new estate. He's invited some very important people from his venture capital firm. Partners, investors, high-caliber individuals." I waited. With my family there was always more. "Your father and I think it would be best if you sat this one out." There was. "You're uninviting me from Dad's 60th birthday? Don't be dramatic. We just think given the guest list it might be more comfortable for everyone if." "If what, Mom?" She sighed. "Emily, you work in administration. These people are worth hundreds of millions. They'll be talking about deals, markets, private equity. You just feel out of place. We're trying to protect you from an awkward situation." I looked out my office window at the city skyline. 23 floors below, people rushed through their lives, unaware that mine was playing out exactly as it always had. "I see." Sarah agrees. "Marcus specifically mentioned that his colleagues are very particular about their social circles. This party could be important for his firm's reputation. And I'd damage that reputation." "You're twisting my words. We just think you'd be more comfortable." "I understand, Mom. Thank you for letting me know." I hung up before she could add anything else. Before she could explain again how my presence would embarrass them. Before she could remind me in that gentle, pitying voice that I simply didn't belong in their world. My phone buzzed 30 seconds later. I considered not answering. But curiosity, or maybe some masochistic need to hear him say it too, made me pick up. "Your mother told me she talked to you," he said. No greeting. No preamble. She did. "I want you to understand this isn't personal, Emily. It's about the event. Sarah's husband is a venture capitalist. His colleagues are flying in from New York, San Francisco, even London. These are serious people. Important people. And I'd lower the caliber." "I didn't say that. You didn't have to." He exhaled, frustrated. "You're 32 years old, working an administrative job. These people close 9-figure deals before lunch. What would you even talk to them about? Filing systems? It would be uncomfortable for everyone, including you." I said nothing. "Sarah's worked hard to build this life," he continued. "Marcus's firm manages over $2 billion in assets. This party isn't just a birthday celebration. It's networking. It's business. Your presence would just complicate things. Because I'm an embarrassment. Stop being so sensitive. We're being practical. You'd feel out of place, and honestly so would our guests. This is about maintaining a certain standard." There was the truth under all the careful language. I wasn't good enough. I'd never been good enough. And now, I wasn't even good enough to attend my own father's birthday party. "I understand, Dad. Enjoy your party." I hung up. For a long moment I sat in my leather chair looking at my office. The mahogany desk I'd imported from Italy. The original Rothko on the wall. The floor-to-ceiling windows offering a view most people would never afford. Then I opened my laptop and pulled up my private investment portfolio. There, buried in the spreadsheet under Venture Capital Holdings, was the entry I was looking for. Nexus Ventures. Initial investment $3.4 million. Date, April 2021. Anonymous investor designation, Meridian Holdings LLC. Marcus Chen's firm. My brother-in-law's company. I'd funded it 3 years ago when they were desperate for capital, just another venture firm trying to compete in an overcrowded market. They'd been shopping for investors for 8 months with no takers. My investment director had found them, vetted them, and brought me the opportunity. The due diligence had been thorough. Good team, decent portfolio companies, but struggling with liquidity. They needed a significant cash infusion to stay competitive. My $3.4 million had arrived through an LLC structure so opaque that Marcus Chen himself wouldn't have known his mysterious backer was his wife's disappointment of a sister. The same sister who wasn't good enough to attend a party at the house my money had helped him afford. I opened my messaging app and texted David Thornton, my portfolio director. "Pull complete file on Nexus Ventures." Conference call in 10 minutes. His response came in seconds. On it. David appeared on my screen exactly 10 minutes later, a folder already open on his end. Nexus Ventures, he said, getting straight to it. Your April 2021 investment. $3.4 million for a 12% stake through Meridian Holdings LLC. They've performed adequately, 7% returns annually, nothing spectacular but stable. What are the withdrawal terms? His eyebrows rose slightly. 90-day notice required for full liquidation. However, there's a clause allowing immediate withdrawal if the LP invokes Section 7C, material breach of good faith or change in investment thesis. And if we pull out? They'd be significantly impacted. We're their second largest investor. Our withdrawal would likely trigger questions from other LPs, possibly destabilize their current fundraise. They're in the middle of closing Fund 3, targeting $50 million. Our exit would complicate that. I thought about Dad's words. These are serious people. Important people. You'd lower the caliber. Invoke Section 7C, I said. Draft the withdrawal notice. David paused. Emily, may I ask? This is a business decision, David. Our investment thesis has changed. Draft the notice for my signature within the hour. Effective immediately. He nodded slowly, understanding this wasn't a discussion. I'll have it ready. After we hung up, I sat back and considered what I was about to do. Was this petty? Perhaps. Was this vindictive? Absolutely. Did I care? Not even a little. For 32 years I'd been the family disappointment. The one who didn't go to an Ivy League school like Sarah. The one who didn't marry well. The one who, in their eyes, had accomplished nothing worth mentioning. They'd never asked what I actually did. Never questioned how I afforded my downtown loft or my car or my lifestyle. They'd simply decided I was barely scraping by, probably living off credit cards and denial, too embarrassed to admit my failures. Let them find out differently. An hour later, David sent the withdrawal notice. I signed it electronically and texted him one more instruction. Terminate investment in Nexus Ventures. Execute immediately. His response, executing now. I imagined the email landing in Marcus Chen's inbox. The notification from their fund administrator. The sudden, inexplicable withdrawal of $3.4 million from an anonymous investor who'd been silent and reliable for 3 years. Then I went back to work. My phone started ringing at 4:47 p.m. I didn't answer. She called again. And again. Text messages flooded in. Emily, call me now. What did you do? Marcus is freaking out. Call me. I silenced my phone and continued working. At 5:15 Mom called. I let it go to voicemail. At 5:22, Dad called. At 5:30 my office phone rang. The direct line that only a handful of people had. My assistant's voice came through the intercom. Ms. Anderson, your sister is on line 1. She says it's urgent. Tell her I'm in a meeting. She said to tell you it's about Marcus's firm and that you need to call her immediately. I smiled. Tell her I'll call her when I'm available. 20 minutes later, my assistant buzzed again. Ms. Anderson, your father is here. In the lobby. He's demanding to see you. That I hadn't expected. Send him up. I straightened my desk, closed my laptop and waited. When Dad walked into my office, he stopped dead in the doorway. I watched his eyes travel across the space. The expensive furniture, the original artwork, the view, the obvious markers of success he'd never imagined I possessed. What is this? He asked. My office. Please, sit down. He remained standing, looking around like he'd entered the wrong building. Your office? Emily, what exactly do you do? I work in administration. You said so yourself. His face reddened. Don't play games. Sarah said Marcus's firm just lost a major investor. She said the withdrawal came from some company called Meridian Holdings. She said you... He stopped, shaking his head. She said you did something. Did I? Emily. His voice dropped to the tone he used when he was losing patience. What did you do? I leaned back in my chair. I made a business decision. Meridian Holdings is one of my investment vehicles. We had capital deployed in Nexus Ventures. Our investment thesis changed, so we withdrew our funding. Standard practice. The color drained from his face. You're the investor? You're the one who gave Marcus $3.4 million. I didn't give him anything. I made an investment. And now I've withdrawn it. Why would you? Understanding dawned in his eyes. Because of the party. Because we uninvited you. No, Dad. I withdrew my investment because it no longer aligns with my portfolio strategy. The party is irrelevant. That's bullshit and you know it. I stood walking to the window. You told me I'd lower the caliber of your birthday celebration. You said I work an administrative job and couldn't possibly have anything to discuss with venture capitalists and investors. You were protecting your important guests from my embarrassing presence. Emily. So I simply agreed with your assessment. If I'm not good enough to attend a party, why would I want my money supporting the host's business? His mouth opened and closed. You've had this money all along? You've been wealthy this entire time and never said anything? You never asked. You assumed. You decided I was a failure because I didn't follow Sarah's path. Did you ever once ask about my life? My career? What I actually do? Silence. I run a private investment firm, Dad. I manage a portfolio worth $180 million. I have stakes in 17 companies including 3 you've probably heard of. I own commercial real estate in 4 cities. I've been doing this for 8 years since I was 24 years old. But you were so busy being disappointed in me you never noticed. He sank into the chair across from my desk. Why didn't you tell us? Because I was testing you. All of you. I wanted to see if you'd value me for who I am, not what I'm worth. And you failed. Spectacularly. Sarah doesn't know either? No one in the family knows. You all decided I was barely getting by and I let you think it. It was educational. He looked around the office again, really seeing it this time. The degrees on the wall from Wharton Business School. The awards from industry organizations. The magazine cover in a frame. Forbes 30 under 30. Jesus Christ, he whispered. Marcus's firm will survive without my investment, I said, returning to my desk. They'll have to work harder, court new investors, maybe scale back their ambitions for Fund 3. But they'll be fine. Consider it a learning experience. Emily, you can't do this. Marcus's family. Is he? Because family uninvites each other from birthday parties? Family tells each other they're not good enough to be in the same room. We made a mistake. You made a choice. You chose to prioritize Marcus's colleagues over your own daughter. You chose to value perception over relationship. You chose to exclude me because you were ashamed of who you thought I was. He stood abruptly. I'm still your father. You can't just. I can actually. And I did. My money, my decision. We stared at each other across the desk. In his eyes, I saw the moment he realized he had no power here. No authority. In this space, in this life I'd built without them, he was just another person who'd underestimated me. I'm going to my birthday party, he said finally. With or without you? With or without your money? Of course you are. Enjoy it. I'm sure Marcus's colleagues will be fascinating company. He walked to the door, then paused. You've changed. No, Dad. I just stopped pretending to be the person you wanted me to be. The disappointment. The failure. The one who'd lower your caliber. He left without another word. The rest of the week was chaos I observed from a comfortable distance. Sarah called 16 times. I answered none of them. Mom left voicemails that started apologetic and ended angry. Marcus sent an email to Meridian Holdings, a formal, professional request to reconsider the withdrawal. David forwarded it to me with a question mark. I told him to respond with our standard investment thesis change template. Non-negotiable. The real entertainment came from Dad's birthday party itself. I heard about it from my assistant whose cousin worked for the catering company Sarah had hired. Apparently Marcus's colleagues from New York had arrived as planned. But news of the mysterious investor withdrawal had spread through venture capital circles. It always does. Meridian Holdings was a known entity in private equity, and our sudden exit from Nexus Ventures raised questions. According to the gossip chain, one of the New York partners had pulled Marcus aside during cocktail hour and asked directly about the funding instability. Marcus had tried to downplay it, but venture capitalists smell blood in the water. By dinner, 3 of his most promising prospects for Fund 3 had concerns they needed to address before committing capital. Dad's grand 60th birthday celebration, designed to showcase his son-in-law's success, had become a networking disaster. Sarah showed up at my office building on Monday morning. Security called up, I told them to send her away. She came back Tuesday. Same response. Wednesday she waited in the coffee shop across the street and intercepted me on my way in. We need to talk, she said, falling into step beside me. No, we don't. Emily, please. Marcus is drowning. You destroyed his fundraise. His partners are questioning his judgment. His investors are nervous. You've sabotaged his entire career over a stupid party invitation. I stopped walking and turned to face her. I made an investment decision based on changing portfolio priorities. That's all. Bullshit. You did this because you were hurt. Because she stopped, looking away. Because we made you feel bad. You didn't make me feel anything, Sarah. You revealed what you've always thought. That I'm beneath you. That I'm an embarrassment. That I don't measure up to your standards. That's not. It is. And it's fine. You're entitled to your opinion. Just like I'm entitled to invest my money wherever I choose. She stared at me. Your money? Emily, where did you get $3.4 million to invest in the first place? I earned it. Built it. The same way anyone builds wealth. Hard work, smart decisions, and a willingness to take risks. All things you assumed I was incapable of. But you never said anything. You let us think. I let you think whatever you wanted to think. You did that on your own. Her eyes filled with tears. You're really not going to put the money back? You're going to let Marcus's firm collapse. It won't collapse. He'll find other investors. He'll rebuild. Or he won't. Either way, it's not my problem anymore. He's family. I laughed, a short, bitter sound. Family. Right. The family that didn't want me at Dad's birthday because I'd lower the caliber. That family. She had no answer to that. Go home, Sarah. Take care of your husband. Help him find new investors. Build your life. Just build it without my money. I walked into my building and didn't look back. Dad's birthday came and went. I sent a card, professional, distant, appropriate. Inside I wrote, wishing you all the best. Emily. No gift. No phone call. No appearance. According to my sources, the party was tense. Marcus spent most of the evening on his phone, trying to salvage relationships with spooked investors. Dad drank too much and left early. Mom spent the night making excuses. 2 weeks later, Marcus did find a replacement investor, a family office out of Texas willing to take Meridian Holdings' place. But they negotiated harder terms, demanded board representation, and cut his management fees. Nexus Ventures survived, but barely, and under much less favorable conditions. Fund 3 closed at $31 million instead of $50 million. A significant reduction in scope and ambition. Through it all, I said nothing. Did nothing. Just watched from a distance as the consequences of their choices rippled outward. Mom called one evening 3 weeks after the party. Your father wants to apologize, she said without preamble. Okay. He realizes he made a mistake. We all did. We should have. She paused, struggling with words that clearly didn't come easily. We should have treated you better. Respected you more. Asked about your life instead of assuming. Yes, you should have. So you'll accept his apology? Come to dinner? We can start over, move past this. I looked around my loft at the life I'd built in silence and secrecy, the success I'd earned while they dismissed me as a failure. No. Emily. Mom, you don't get to do this. You don't get to apologize only after you discovered I have money. You don't get to suddenly decide I'm worthy of respect because my portfolio is worth more than you imagined. That's not how this works. We made a mistake. You made a choice. You chose to value wealth and status over character and relationship. You chose to exclude your own daughter because you were ashamed of who you thought I was. And now that you know who I actually am, you want to undo it. But you can't. So what, you're just going to cut us out of your life forever? Over one party invitation. It was never about the party, Mom. It was about what the party represented. 32 years of being treated like I didn't measure up. Like I was less than. Like my worth was determined by how I compared to Sarah, not by who I actually am. She was quiet for a long moment. So there's nothing we can do? No way to fix this. Maybe someday. But not today. And not because you discovered I'm rich. If you want a relationship with me, it has to be because you value me as a person, not as a portfolio. That's not fair. We always valued you. Did you? Because the moment you had to choose between my feelings and Marcus's colleagues' comfort, you chose them. Without hesitation. Without even a conversation. You just decided I wasn't good enough and uninvited me from my own father's birthday. I could hear her crying softly on the other end. I need time, Mom. And you need to figure out who you want to be. The family that loves unconditionally, or the family that loves conditionally based on status and appearance. You can't be both. I hung up before she could respond. I'm in my office when David buzzes through. Emily, you have a visitor in the lobby. He doesn't have an appointment, but he says he's your father and he's willing to wait as long as necessary. I check the time. 3:47 p.m. Send him up. Dad looks older when he walks in. Tired. He's carrying a small gift bag that he sets on my desk. I know you said you needed time, he starts. It's been 6 months. I'm hoping that's enough. I gesture to the chair. He sits. I've been thinking a lot, he continues. About the things you said. About the choices we made. You were right. We did value the wrong things. We judged you by standards that had nothing to do with who you actually are. And I'm sorry. Not because you have money, though I'll admit that was a shock. I'm sorry because we failed you as parents. We made you feel like you had to hide your success from us. We made you feel like you weren't good enough. And that's unforgivable. I say nothing, waiting. He pushes the gift bag across the desk. I brought this. I want you to have it. Inside is a framed photo. It's from when I was 7 years old at my elementary school science fair. I'd built a working model of the solar system and I'm standing beside it, beaming with pride. Dad's in the photo too, his arm around my shoulders, looking down at me with unmistakable love and pride. I found this in the attic, he says. I'd forgotten about it. Forgotten what it felt like to just be proud of you for being you, not for checking boxes or meeting expectations. My throat tightens. I don't expect you to forgive me, he continues. And I don't expect our relationship to go back to how it was. But I'm asking for a chance to build something new. Something based on actually knowing who you are, not who I assumed you were. And the family? Sarah? Mom. They can speak for themselves. I'm here for me. To apologize. To try to do better. If you'll let me. I look at the photo. At the little girl who'd been so excited about planets and science. At the father who'd loved her before expectations got in the way. I say finally. We can try. But Dad, if this is only because you found out about the money. It's not. He meets my eyes. I'd be here even if you were actually working a regular admin job. Because I realized something these past 6 months. I don't actually know my daughter. And that's my loss. One I'd like to correct if you're willing. I nod slowly. Dinner. Once a month. Just us. No Sarah, no Mom, no Marcus. Just us, getting to know each other as the people we actually are, not the roles we're supposed to play. I'd like that. He stands to leave, then pauses at the door. For what it's worth, Emily, this office, your success, everything you've built. I'm proud of you. I should have said that years ago. Yes, I agree. You should have. After he leaves, I place the framed photo on my desk where I can see it. A reminder of what was lost and maybe what could be rebuilt. My phone buzzes with a message from David. Nexus Ventures filing for Chapter 11 restructuring. Fund 3 officially dissolved. Thought you'd want to know. I delete the message. Some bridges burn. Some rebuild. And some, you walk away from entirely, carrying only the lessons they taught you about who you are and what you're worth. I learned mine. Finally, my family is learning theirs.